Hello, ladies. So, you went through the psychoeducation that I was throwing at you, and please feel free to ask me questions. I have been trying to do this in a condensed way, and at the same time, there's so much information. So, if I didn't cover anything adequately, please reach out. Feel comfortable doing it. I want to arm you with all of the stuff that I have really sunk a great deal of my time and this portion of my life into studying to figure out why the heck trauma is so freaking bad and why it impacted me so hard. So I am just here for you. I'm here for you, and I'm honored to be able to do that. And please ask whatever you need to ask. So now we are going to get into our tips and our tricks. I'm going to be involving some aspects of brain spotting, and I can give you all the information that I have on it, so that if you want to find a practitioner to do this, by all means do it. But we're going to use some pieces of brain spotting, maybe just a teeny tiny mention of EMDR, the havening, and trauma resiliency model. Now, these are only my little takeaways from these different, I'm looking at my list. These are only my takeaways for how to apply this to your body without doing it with other people being involved. So I just want to make it very clear in case somehow the brain spotting people or the havening people or the trauma resiliency model people or EMDR people don't see this and be like, oh my goodness, you're not doing something, that's lawful and legal and blah blah blah. No. This is my own spin on it, and this is absolutely by no means conclusive explanations of how any of these models and techniques work. So it's all legit. Nothing is being said that is not allowed to be said. And people are allowed to apply this however they see fit, and they do not have to apply this, and that is my disclaimer. I am also not responsible for application that is incorrect either. Oh, I swear, you guys, that is the one thing that scares me so much about this field. There are people that are so sue happy out there. They want to just, anyway, I won't even get into it. So without further ado, here we go. Grounding. First, grounding. What does it mean to be grounded? Well, if you've got an electrician in your life or somebody who studies electricity, the ground level would be the floor. So go ahead and place your feet on the floor. There's a lot out there that talks about how the negative and positive ions exist, and that is absolutely something that you can digest on your own if you're interested. But basically, grounding is having your feet on the ground, feeling yourself in place, knowing that you are here right now, that you are present. You are not in a dissociative state. You are right here. You are right now. Now, as a little side note, when you're in either a dissociative state or a state where you have a lot of active theta waves, kind of entranced, kind of checked out, that sort of thing, it makes a person extremely susceptible to the power of suggestion. This seems to be how hypnosis works. I just want to make a little quick note there. When people are in a sort of checked out state, they're very suggestible. So use that information as you will. This is why it's good to be grounded. This is why it's good to be present, because otherwise assholes can get in and almost dropped the F-bomb. They can come in and screw up your center of balance. So be grounded and take the time for you. You know all of the wonderful ways of caring for yourself, and I'm sure you ladies will be able to. Noelle has done an amazing job of making lists of different things that are self-care oriented. And many of you have contributed to it too. So I think that's just wonderful. Do it. Draw yourself that nice warm bath. Bake yourself the cookies. Go buy the cookies. Stuff that makes you feel good. Don't go overboard. Of course, we know balance. But basically, it's practicing kindness to ourselves, kindness, exercising, not overdoing it. Kindness, eating healthy food, not overdoing it though. Have a little of your vice, enjoy yourself. Your makeup care routines, having opportunities to meditate. The power of meditation is amazing. It really, really is. I used to be very, very bad at meditating. It took me a long time to get into it, so there are tons of videos on that. And I know you ladies here, many of you probably have really great tips on that. I'm a neurofeedback clinician in addition to being a therapist, so that is a wonderful tool to get people into a meditative space as well. Let's see, that is grounding. We want to be grounded because it keeps the bad out. It does not allow it in. We're so solid within ourselves. Then we move on to, let's see, it says reinforcing good neural pathways through self-care and consistency. So that grounding, that self-care and that consistency of being good to yourself and also validating yourself and not being around toxic people who invalidate you. And I know that's very hard sometimes to get away from. So, creating that balance is important. But all of that reinforces the neural pathways that you are trying to build. It reinforces the good stuff, and it allows the old neural pathways that can be very, very negative and judgmental and mean and full of trauma and just so painful for you to experience. Those neural pathways will be traveled less and less and less. And as you travel the stronger neural pathways, by doing good things for yourself, by validating yourself, by noticing when you're accidentally slipping into an old pattern that's bad for you and saying, that's okay, I'm going to pull myself out of it and I'm going to stick on the good, positive neural pathway that I'm building. All of that allows you to really allow for that neuroplasticity to happen. That is the continuation of building of your neural networks. We have amazing neuroplasticity our entire lives. Yes, it's best when we're a child because that's when everything's growing, and that's why so much crap gets wired in that age bracket between 0 and 7, and even some utero stuff, I'll tell you. But up to that point, that's the fastest that our brain is growing in our entire life. And that's why it's so important for those years to be solid. But moving beyond the age of 7, we are still capable of immense neuroplasticity. So being really good to ourselves, being good to those around us, but having the boundaries, knowing that we're not being taken advantage of, we're not being taken for granted, and at the end of the day, we haven't stressed ourselves out trying to do for other people when it's not appreciated. So that's a whole other thing, whole other video. So that's grounding, and that is self-care. Now, disrupting, trick number 1. I should write down the time for that. That's about 9 minutes in. Trick number 1, disrupting old thought patterns, replacing with new thought patterns. So if you find yourself slipping into an old thought pattern, at that moment, disrupt it. Do not let it go on further. Change your focus. Do literally anything else. Jump up and down doing jumping jacks. Do not stop until the thought leaves your mind. Do some other type of movement. Do some type of artwork. Sing a song you love, one that makes you happy, not sad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just elevate elevate those endorphins. Do anything that elevates those endorphins. Play a word game. Talk with somebody else. Don't talk about the thing that's upsetting to you, though, because that's just going to bring your mind back there. Every time our mind goes back there, we are strengthening those negative neural pathways. It's like a muscle that we're working out, and we're just strengthening it. We're giving life to the problem, and we don't want to do that. We want to starve that problem. We want to suffocate it. Now, I'm not saying don't process trauma, because we're going to get there too. But I am saying that if you're in the middle of doing stuff and something has triggered you and you're just like, oh, I can't stop thinking, I can't stop ruminating about what happened to me, immediately stop what you're doing and go do something else until that leaves you. You have to do that for yourself. You have to disrupt that neural pathway because it's playing a trick on you. Now, it's not trying to play a trick on you. I'm villainizing it. I'm vilifying it. It's the limbic system not being able to tell time. The limbic system doesn't know that any time has gone by. So something gets startled, the amygdala jumps in, the hippocampus jumps in. They're like, oh my God, the thing is happening and it's horrible. Oh my God, oh my God. And no, it is not happening right now. It is not happening, and that whole ruminating cycle is not necessary. So that's why we have to stop it. We have to calm it down immediately and deflect the attention elsewhere for the time being. And you have to do that consistently if you're not planning to process that trauma right now. Because the more we let it fester and the more we focus on it, the more it strengthens that neural pathway, and we don't want that. So that is one option when you need to get rid of it fast. Get up and go do anything else. Take a shower. If you catch your mind going in a direction that is still upsetting, just start singing. Do something that immediately grabs your attention. You just are not able to focus on anything else. If it's dancing, do dancing. If it's playing with the doggies, play with the doggies. If it's putting on makeup, put on the makeup, honey. Do your nails. I wanna jump into the Vietnamese, put your nails on. I'm so sorry, my Vietnamese Hapa girls just was so appropriate. But yes, you need to distract immediately and suffocate that old neural pathway. So that's the number one method. Let's see, we're at 12 minutes, 13 minutes. So I'm going to go on to the next one. This next one is actually dealing with the trauma. What do? Well, if it's still there, it's because it's important. Whatever it is important. It's important to your mind, it's important to your body, and it needs to have an opportunity to process. If it's still there, it means that it didn't get a chance to process. Unprocessed grief, that can happen. Unprocessed fear, that can happen. There's so many. There are so many, and I'm sure all of you have insight to that, the variety. So we're going to now go into something called brain spotting, and I'm going to demonstrate on myself how you can use brain spotting on yourself to help trauma process out. You do not have to do this, but you can. Now, the concept behind brain spotting, it is an offshoot, essentially, of EMDR. EMDR uses the eye movements, and it's eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And it's what reprocesses trauma. Now, brain spotting is a more gentle approach, and it does not have as much rigidity, which can be very, very good. Now, that's not to say EMDR is bad. EMDR is excellent, and it has been tested clinically more than brain spotting, because brain spotting came along a little while later. So that stuff is still in progress, My preference personally is brain spotting because you're able to do it to yourself. And here is how I do brain spotting on myself if I need to process out trauma. First of all, how does it work? We have those little bits of trauma that get stuck in the limbic system. We've been talking about that. That's the emotional center, and it is where our trauma lives. And we are, we have things that are tucked away, old traumas that we might not even realize are traumas, but old things. And when we're talking, watch me. When we're talking, we tend to look all around. We don't just look at the person we're talking to. Now, if you've encountered anybody, you notice that they look off to the side, then they continue speaking. It's very, very weird when someone just stares you down and stares at you. So it's part of our natural reflex to look somewhere. And the basic premise of brain spotting is where you look matters. It just does. It matters. So if you look off to the side like I did just now, that whole process is information retrieval. That's what's happening. My mind reflexively has to have my eyes go somewhere into a fixed position to access that information. It's just a reflex, and we all do it. So if you notice while you're talking that your eyes just moved somewhere, go ahead and hold it. Hold that spot. This is part of what's called gaze spotting. Now, I don't think I have my little pointer. Oh, I do. I have my pointer. When I'm in my office doing it with clients, we have our pointer, and I have them track with me their eyes, and we just go through the whole environment around them and see where their eyes are tending to gravitate towards. For doing it at home, here's what we can do. We can allow our eyes to gravitate to wherever they seem to be going, and then just leave them there, fixed, in whatever spot that they seem to be going when you're having a conversation. And just leave them there. And you can be very, very quiet doing this, or if you have someone trusted who you love and you want, in your presence, and you want to be able to talk something out, you just go ahead and let them be there, and stuff will start to emerge. Don't criticize yourself. Don't be like, why is that coming up? That's old, that's silly, that's stupid, no. Don't judge yourself. That is your brain going through the process of information retrieval that it needs to go through. Your brain knows best, so it's pulling back all of these layers and it's finding the issue. So you just hold on there, and it might take a while. You might be staring at that spot for 10 to 20 minutes, or it might happen faster. But eventually you're going to get something. Now, maybe you feel like you're not getting something, and you're like, I don't know, this isn't working for me, I'm not able to do it. That's okay. Don't worry about it. A practitioner, a clinician, a therapist would be able to lead you through it really, really effectively, and don't beat yourself up. You've done nothing wrong. If you want to give it another try though, another approach that you could use is just checking out in your frame of vision the thing that you're thinking about, what your body is thinking about that's kind of traumatizing. And just notice as you could use your own finger. Do I feel it more intensely in my body, wherever I'm feeling it in my body? As I go to the right, let's check out the left. Do I feel it more intensely in my body on the left? I'll be very honest, I'm not even thinking about a trauma, but I feel this tightness when I go to the left. It could be because my arm is literally crossing over my chest, so maybe I'll try it out. Yeah, My left side holds a whole bunch of trauma. It just does. So I know it sounds very, very weird, but just check and see where you are feeling more activation in your body. You might need to go up, you might need to go down, it might be more diagonal, it might be further out, it might be closer. So you can also do closeness, proximity. This is important for attachment issues. If it has to do with attachment, you might notice that your finger further away feels not as good, and closer feels better. Did you notice how I had a release there? Attachment issues. It's so wild. It is so, so wild. I remember when I was first learning all of this, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my body has been holding all of that inside of me. The further away it might be, the more isolated you might feel, the more pain you might feel. The closer it is, the more you might feel relief. On the flip side, what if that's not it? What if your issue is that this is confrontational? This is assaulting your senses. It's too close. Then you would want to back up. And you find the spot that feels different. Either it's going to feel good or it's going to feel bad. Honest to goodness, you can go either way. If you find one spot and you're just like, for whatever crazy reason, that feels really, really good to me, I'm going to just leave my eyes fixed there. Let it. Let it. You're resourcing. You are pulling good information from that place. Let all the stuff come up in your brain and just keep your eyes fixed there until things mellow out and until you feel ready to just move on from there. On the flip side, you can stick with something negative. If you're like, oh, that spot over there, I'm feeling something in my chest. I don't know what it is. I know I sound crazy, whatever. Hold on to that spot and just keep looking at it. And just know your brain needs to process something, and the piece of information that needs to be processed happens to be in that eye position. So you just keep on holding it, and you might notice your body going through a whole shift of things. If it gets too intense, it's okay. You can drop it, and at this point, go to your resource spot, find that good spot, the one that feels good, and let your body decompress. And you can do grounding. But if you're like, no, I want to see this through and I want to see where the hell this goes, just go ahead and leave it there. And just keep on going. At some point, and it could take an hour, at some point, it's going to drain out of your body and you're going to get some clarity. It doesn't make the trauma go away, obviously, but you will feel a shift in your brain. And that's the shift that's necessary that allows you to move forward in life so that your brain is not so stuck on that one point, because that's really where the glitch is. Most of us have come to terms with the fact that whatever it was happened, and we're like, okay, I got it, it happened. Hey body, why do you have to keep being so mean to me? And reminding me that it happened. So it's that reminder that needs to get processed out. And that is essentially how brain spotting works. You are so welcome to contact me and say, hey, I need a little pointer working on it on myself, or I have a question, or anything if I can be of help. But you can do this for yourself. It's basically allowing your eye position to have enough time to rest where it needs to. Now, a couple things about brain spotting that might tie this together and make it make sense. When children are in class, now how many remember the kid in class who's like, it might have even been you. I know it was me a couple of times, just, that is necessary. It is necessary for processing, for decompressing, for, all that stuff. It is our brain basically defragging. And in today's world, how many opportunities do we have to defrag? Seriously. If we have any kind of downtime, what are we doing? We're getting that sleep that we need. Or we're on our phones enjoying social media, or we're watching TV, but we're not letting our brain do its process. So sometimes you need to allow yourself to be a space cadet. That's not necessarily dissociating. If you feel you're dissociating, please, please, please contact a counselor or a therapist, or and anybody to get some support with that. For the record though, we all do dissociate for a little while. Dissociating is where you just check out and you're a space cadet. Lights are on, but nobody's home. And that is normal. You might check out for a couple minutes, but people who check out like all day long, or they're on autopilot for everything, that's a problem. And you can see why that would be a problem. It's just not a healthy way to live. You have lapses in time. It's not good. And then the other thing, you might notice that your spot is all the way up there, or it might be down there at the floor. There are reasons behind that too. I'll give you some examples. It doesn't mean that it's true for you, but some examples that come up. You might have a spot that's all the way up there and you just leave it, and you might have feelings of, just helplessness or whatever it might be, looking upward. That would be a baby on their back, looking throughout the room like, where's mom? Where's my dad? Where are my people? I need comfort. Or it might be a little child looking up. Something might have really scared them. Maybe it was an authority figure. Or it might be looking down like you're being shamed. So your spot can be everywhere. And again, think of an XY axis. Just draw your vision out to the side very, very slowly, noticing in your body, okay, is that making me tenser or calmer? And take note, if it makes you calmer, it's a good thing. That would be a resource spot. And if it makes you tenser, also take note, because that's your brain spot, and you will have many of them potentially. You don't necessarily just have one, but find the one that feels most relevant at the moment. And your brain will know. You don't even have to conceptualize this. Your brain will know what to do. But if it sounds weird or anything and you have any questions, just let me know. The next one is havening. And the havening is really, really fantastic. You can find a practitioner to haven with you, but I'm going to show you how I haven myself. And havening basically is providing a safe haven for you. And it's beautiful. Now, we can actually have a safe haven within our own body. It is facilitating the delta waves. Delta waves are very calming. They are very, very soothing. So the way I self-haven myself is by taking my fingers across my forehead and my cheeks and my arms and then my hands. Now, you don't have to follow this pattern. This is the model that the Havening group developed because it's non-sexual. These are the parts of the body that are least likely to be offensive to other people. We're not groping ourselves. But facilitating and creating these delta waves help relax our nervous system. And that's what we want. So this is our, this is number 2 as a trick. Brain spotting is an actual, I guess that's a trick too, but it's a big thing. So this is another trick to finding equilibrium in the moment and relaxing ourselves. So it's good for our nervous system. We just take our fingertips through the forehead and then through the cheeks. And if you find that you like it somewhere else, like your neck or up on your shoulders or wherever, go for it. Find that spot or those different spots that feel good. Create your own order to it. And now we're going to add words. Often we need to inform our nervous system that something did not happen, or that things are okay, or whatever it might be. So choose your statement that you want to haven on. I'm going to choose a statement like, but everything's okay, or I survived, or I am good. You know, it could be really anything. It's whatever you need to hear. And not you cognitively. You're on top of it. Cognitively, you know what's up. But your emotional system, just reflect inward and ask yourself, what do I need to hear? And if at first you say, I don't know, that's okay. That's the prefrontal popping in and being like, I'm not analyzing this, well enough. No, just look inward and just be like, what do I need to hear? And it will start to flow out of you. So start with the movements that you want to do and just be like, just let it flow. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And just keep on doing it. This will disrupt any negative thoughts, and it will also help to process through that information that you're okay, that everything's okay. Sometimes the nervous system just needs to be informed. You lived. You were okay. It's all right. Everything's all right. And that alone can get the trauma out and out of your system. And it's okay to repeat this many, many times down the line. One time doesn't necessarily fix every little thing. So just keep on reapplying it. And you'll notice that as you're doing it, you start to become slower and slower and slower. Your voice might drop, and this is great. Let that voice drop, and eventually you'll drop into a state where you do not even need to talk anymore. Or maybe, you'll still be talking a little bit, but you'll feel refreshed. Either way, you will notice a shift in your body. And that's what we're looking for. There's going to be a shift in your body. And then the last one, my last little trick, is from the trauma resiliency model. And that is to build resilience. Remember how I had brought up my cup and how we only have a certain amount of room to take all the crap that we experience. And so this helps to drain that cup so that you continue to have room, so that you're relaxed, so that you're able to manage and you feel good. So just doing a check-in with yourself. Do I feel really activated? Do I feel kind of upset, explosive? Or do I feel really, really down? Do I feel really, really depressed? Or do I kind of feel more in the middle? Or maybe just a little bit down? Or maybe just a little bit activated? Just notice it. Notice where it is resonating in your body. Just notice that. And notice if it's intense for you, and notice if it's kind of calm. So this is how I apply the trauma resiliency model to myself. I think of a couple of things that bring me a lot of joy. It can be anything. And it doesn't mean that one thing is better than the next. I'll give you an example. I asked one client, give me 4 things that bring you a lot of joy. And she listed every single one of her kids, which is beautiful. All 4 of her babies give her joy. Beautiful. But she's like, I can't choose. I can't narrow it down just to one. I'm such a bad mother if I do. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not. It doesn't mean that any of those things are less important or less good. Just which one are you gravitating towards in the moment right now? Which thing or person or place or whatever are you gravitating towards more right this second? It doesn't mean that anything else is, less important or less wonderful. And so she was able to calm down, and she's like, well, actually, my baby girl just said mama the other day, and I feel so happy. So that's wonderful. So she loves her other kids, but what came up for her was her baby girl saying, Mama. So we did the trauma resiliency model on her being called Mama by her baby. And I asked her, where do you feel that in your body? And she was able to locate it. It's in my heart. It's around my neck. It's in my face. And she just kept elaborating on where she felt it in her body. And so that's what we do. So if I do trauma resiliency model on myself, I'm asking myself, okay, where do I notice it in my body? Yes, I notice it in my chest, or oh, I notice it in my legs. I like to use sunshine as an example. So when I think of sunshine, I feel it on my face, and really, really notice how you're feeling. Notice the temperature. Talk out loud. It feels good. I feel the temperature. I feel the heat of the sun. Oh, that was involuntary, you guys. I just started breathing in. This is one that I use regularly. The sunshine just does it for me. And I get this weird feeling in my toes, actually, because I imagine digging my toes into the sand at the beach, and it just feels so good that I feel radiating up my throat. I actually feel it right now because I have solidified this network. Oh my God, I hope you don't all think I'm crazy. I'm just kind of having my own moment because I use the one that that I've done a lot of work on trying to network into my brain. But yes, so sunshine is the one that I've used. And by just being descriptive, describing it to yourself, noticing everything that you feel about the thing that you're focused on, you'll start to notice your body, your nervous system relax. That breath. And I tend to breathe a lot in my chest, which I should not. We want to make it come out through the diaphragm, but that is, not something we need to focus on right at this second. Just notice your body relaxing and enjoying it. And the second I mentioned my sunshine, look at this, my smile won't go away. It really works, you guys. It really, really does. I feel relief having used my example, just because it's one that I've worked on a lot. So once you solidify it into your system, you'll be able to go back there over and over and over and over. And if you ever want to, have me do it with you, it's just a couple of questions. I'm literally asking, what do you notice? Is it pleasant? Do you like it? And that sort of thing. And you just keep on talking about it, and it starts to build that neural pathway in your head that allows you to tap into that good energy that makes you feel good. And this can be used very effectively to disrupt trauma cycles, to disrupt rumination. So I need to do it more, because I have a lot of rumination about my shitty narcissistic ex-fiance, and the very fact that I gave it that energy is probably not good, saying shitty, whatever. But that is the most recent trauma that I still struggle with. Every time I catch myself thinking about him, I tell myself that I need to focus on something else. So I choose whatever I've built, whatever neural networks I've built, like my sunshine model, or sometimes I think of my mom because she makes me so happy. These are the things that we can do, and they're actually really effective when put into practice. So I think in my closing words, ground for yourself to keep bad energy out. Allow your gaze to go where it needs to go, and let that thought finish processing. It's okay if it's negative. Let it finish. It needs to finish up. If it gets too intense, that's okay. That's okay. You can pause, and you can go find your other resource. You can also do something that gives good energy to that bad spot. So if your eyes are looking at one spot that is your resource center, it's a good one, it's a positive one, and then you know where your bad one is and it's really intense, just let your eyes go back and forth at whatever pace you need to go, or wherever they're located. Just let them go back and forth, and one will start to, the positive one will feed that good energy to the negative one, and you will feel your body start to come down. You will feel it start to come down, I promise. And oh, one more. If you need to get your nervous system immediately in order, here's your fast trick. You ladies have waited 40 minutes for this one. Bring your finger out, bring it in. Bring it out, bring it in. Bring it out, bring it in, bring it out, bring it in. Keep on doing this. Don't stop. Just keep on doing this. Follow it, follow it, follow it. You're going to start to get fatigued. And your nervous system's going to let you breathe, which is what mine just did. That was involuntary. I didn't force that breath out. And honest to goodness, that works. It works really, really well. So those are my tips and my tricks. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I want everyone to feel good. Everyone deserves peace. Everyone deserves good mental health. And I just love this group. I love that we're here for each other. And I'm here for you. Bye, ladies. Mwah.